Campagnolo, the Super Record Chorus 2015 mechanical group sets. Installation, adjustment and operation. In this video, we will see how to install the Groupsets mechanical drivetrain components, their adjustment and operation. As an example, we will use a Chorus Groupset, but the installation, adjustment and operation is also the same for the Super Record and Record Groupsets. The drivetrain Groupset components must all be from the new range, because they are not compatible with the components from the previous ranges. Exceptions are the crankset, the bottom bracket cups, the brakes, the sprocket cassettes and the chain. However, in order to obtain maximum performance, use all 2015 components which are marked with the letter A together. For the installation, we will use the new sprockets cassette 11 to 29. The tools to be used are normal workshop tools and specific Campagnolo tools to fit the mechanical drivetrain components, with the exception of the new tool consisting of two templates, one for 50-tooth chainrings and one for 52 or 53-tooth chainrings, which are necessary for quick and precise positioning of the front derailleur. Preparing and checking the frame. Before installing the various components, check the compatibility as indicated in the technical manual on the Campagnolo website. Specifically, in addition to basic frame geometry, check the measurements of the bottom bracket shell, the distance of the rear derailleur hanger dropout from the first sprocket and its geometry. Chase out the threads in the bottom bracket and the rear derailleur hanger. And ensure that the rear derailleur hanger is correctly aligned. Installation of the components. Install the ErgoPower Ultra Shift levers on the handlebar. The new levers can be recognized by the new hoods, and the left-hand lever can be recognized, compared to the previous versions, by an end stop in the travel slot of lever 3. The right-hand lever can be recognized by the white bush visible on the back of the command. Do not use the levers from the previous versions under any circumstances, because the indexing is different and does not allow correct operation of the drivetrain. Install the bottom bracket cups in the bottom bracket shell. Install the crankset in accordance with the normal procedure for the Ultra Torque system at the prescribed torque for the central bolt. If it is a Super Record crankset, the titanium screw has a left-hand thread. For optimum operation, the front derailleur must be installed observing a distance of the cage from the tops of the tallest teeth on the largest chainring of 1.5 to 3 mm and a parallel position to the chainring itself. Ensure that you have selected the correct template for the UT FD020 tool so that it is compatible with the crankset you are fitting. Position the front derailleur ready to be locked into its final position. Install the tool on the largest chainring, keeping the crank almost horizontal so that the tallest teeth are in the groove on the bottom of the tool. Turn the chainring in an anti-clockwise direction, moving the tool under the derailleur cage. Rest the cage on the tool itself so that it rests in the front area, and turn it until its external edge is perfectly parallel with the white line. Keep the front derailleur in position and tighten the mount screw to the prescribed torque. In case of using the front derailleur with a clamp fitting, tighten the clamp screw to the prescribed torque. Ensure that the cage is always resting on the tool and that the external edge is parallel to the white line. Turn the chainring clockwise and ease the tool from the chainring. If required, a version of the front derailleur is also available with the secure shifting system, a system which provides an additional component on the front derailleur to increase the stability of the front derailleur fitting to the frame. Install the front derailleur. Rest the component on the frame, taking care to apply the protection on the frame, and tighten to the prescribed torque. The new CSD, chain security device system, can also be installed, which, on particularly bumpy surfaces, prevents the chain from falling to the inside of the smallest chainring when downshifting. The system allows easy positioning of the CSD at 1 mm from the smallest chainring without needing to simultaneously position the front derailleur. It is only compatible with brazed-on fittings, and so can be used with EPS-type brazed-on front derailleurs and front derailleurs for mechanical group sets with triple crankset. In case of clamp-on front derailleur, use the current chain drop prevention system. Install the rear derailleur on the dropout, tightening the screw to the prescribed torque, reducing from previous versions. Install the chain following the cautions indicated in the correct Campagnolo 11-speed chain mounting and dismounting video. Specifically, ensure that the length of the chain is such that, positioning the rear derailleur on the smallest sprocket and the front derailleur on the smallest chainring, the distance of the chain from the lower part of the jockey cage and the upper part of the chain is 10 to 15 mm. Fit the housing cut to the correct length, keeping in mind that in case of the absence of a front derailleur cable adjuster on the frame, for correct adjustment, it is necessary to also fit the Campagnolo cable tension adjuster of the front derailleur that is included in the package of the Ultra Shift commands. The tension adjuster is placed near the handlebar in an area where it does not interfere with the frame. The knurled part must be positioned at the bottom, and the lower housing must have a ferrule. No ferrule is needed in the upper housing. Fit the tape on the handlebar. Adjustment of the 2015 11-speed drivetrain group set. Ensure that the rear and front derailleur end stop screws are undone. Adjust the rear derailleur high gear end stop so that the upper pulley is aligned with the smallest sprocket. Tighten the rear derailleur cable to the prescribed torque. And adjust the rear derailleur low gear end stop so that the upper pulley is aligned with the largest sprocket. adjust the cable tension so that the rear derailleur goes up and down correctly on the sprockets. With the chain positioned on the smallest chainring and on the largest sprocket, acting on the screw on the lower part of the rear derailleur, adjust the distance of the upper jockey wheel teeth from the biggest sprocket teeth to 5 to 7 mm. In the limit combination sprocket cassette 11 to 23 and particularly long dropout rear derailleur hanger 28 mm, it is normal that the distance cannot be adjusted to less than 7 mm. With the chain positioned on the small chainring and on the bigger sprocket, adjust the low limit screw of the front derailleur so that the inner face of the cage is no more than 0.5 mm from the chain. Operate the internal lever of the left-hand command several times. Pull the cable slightly and position it in the groove below the washer. Lock it in place by tightening the screw to the specified torque. If the cable touches the front derailleur in the area below the fastening point, in order for the front derailleur to function correctly, install the washer which keeps the cable clear of the derailleur. Make the chain shift up on the larger chainring with 3 clicks. If this does not occur correctly, adjust the cable tension so that it does. Check the position of the chain relative to the internal side of the front derailleur cage. Adjust the cable tension until the distance from the inner face is a maximum of 0.5 mm. Still on the big chainring, bring the rear derailleur down onto the smaller sprocket and observe the position of the chain in relation to the outer face of the front derailleur cage. If the chain drags, increase the cable tension. The outer face of the fork must be a maximum of 1 mm from the chain. With the chain on the largest chainring and on the smaller sprocket, adjust the high gear limit screw until the tip of the screw touches the limiter surface. If necessary, unscrew it a fraction to allow overrun on shifting, but so that the minimum distance between the external side of the derailleur cage and the chain never exceeds 1 mm. The particularities of 2015 11-speed drivetrain operation. One of the characteristics of operation of the new rear derailleur is the constant tension of the rear derailleur hanger spring, which, during the chain downshifting, allows the rear derailleur rotation to be kept unchanged. This means that the upper jockey wheel will always be close to the sprocket used, allowing greater chain downshift speed and accuracy. The front derailleur and the left-hand lever are designed to lower the chain from the largest chainring to the smallest with a single push of the inner left-hand lever to its end of travel. 2 clicks should be heard. The front derailleur cage is intentionally kept close to the chain in order to prevent the risk of the chain falling to the inside and to provide rapid derailing on upshift. When the chain is on the larger sprockets, we will operate lever 3 again to prevent the chain from dragging onto the front derailleur cage. 1 click should be heard. When the chain downshift to the smaller sprockets at the rear, in order to prevent the chain from dragging on the front derailleur cage, lever 2 can be operated a first time and, if necessary, a second time. Ascent from the smallest chainring to the largest can therefore take place with an operation of 1 click, 2 clicks, or 3 clicks. depending on the initial position of the front derailleur.